So hi everyone, I'm Jenna, Tessa's sister and maid of honor, and I'm so excited to be here celebrating this beautiful love story with everyone. I've known Tess since the day she was born, when our parents told us that one day we would be best friends. And in my infinite 2-year-old wisdom, I started talking to her and asked why she wasn't talking back to me yet. But the truth is, she probably would have talked a lot sooner if I had ever stopped talking to let her get a word in. Instead, she used what my parents refer to as the cave girl method. So she'd just point and grunt to get her needs met. And that was totally fine because I loved interpreting for her. And my parents were right. We did become best friends, though growing up we were incredibly different. So to put it simply, I was the worrier who played it safe, and Tess was the one who took the risk, going after what she wanted and inevitably getting it. So before lighting sparklers on 4th of July, I put on rubber boots and fireproof gloves just in case. Meanwhile, Tess took off running the second her sparkler was lit. We both loved playing with our little electric Jeep, and I wanted to be informed of all of the rules of the road all of the time, and Tess thought it was more fun as a bumper car. While occasionally she convinced me to be daring with her, like a swim in the Vermont pond during a summer storm, most of the time I just marveled at how lucky she was that her antics never led to more than the occasional bump and bruise. It seemed that Tess wasn't afraid of anything. Almost anything. She did have one fear. Sleeping in her own room. But she solved that problem just like she navigated the world, going after what she wanted. And that's how we came to spend many nights hiding under the covers together in our own little world where we pretended that no one could see or hear us. And this is where I have a confession to make, because I often whined that Tess always ended up with me, but I think I secretly loved it. The truth is that I felt so much pride in being the person who my sister needed. Tess is the younger sister, but she's always been a role model to me. She's incredibly loyal to the people who she cares about. When someone she loves needs her, she'll do anything to be by their side, and she's one of the best advocates I know. Through all the ups and downs of life, you'll frequently hear me say, I just want my sister. And I feel confident that in addition to being my person, this room is filled with people who consider her theirs. No matter what life has thrown at her, she's stayed true to who she is, and she's done it all while keeping that wild spirit, sometimes making me nervous with the risks she takes, but inevitably figuring it out. So I guess it was pretty on brand for Tess to have her first date with Jake late at night at Dead Horse Beach. And on brand for me to worry about it, which she told me, of course, after the fact. I told her she was lucky it went as well as it did, and then I stepped back and watched what would become a lifelong relationship unfold. Jake and I had actually only met in person twice when my family's world was changed in the blink of an eye by a car accident in Orlando that left my mom with substantial injuries and far away from home. Tess and I spent the first few weeks working together, finding joy in the small things, which included frequent care packages and calls with Jake. The day after I left, Jake surprised everyone and showed up in my mom's hospital room. At the time, I was shocked. But knowing Jake as I do now, it makes complete sense. Showing up in support, unfazed by how complex the situation might be, is just who he is. A few weeks later, it was my turn in Orlando when I told Tess we needed a distraction for discharge day. I listened to her and Jake FaceTime my mom, telling this elaborate story about how they had tricked a shelter into letting them adopt a dog. And just as I was marveling at how fast they had come up with this story on the spot, they were turning the camera around and saying, "Meet Ollie." And I realized it wasn't a joke. They had shrugged off all the reasons why it wasn't the right time to adopt a dog, focusing only on the fact that they wanted him. I couldn't believe they were so impulsive and so lucky. Lots of people think that was the turning point for them, and they're not wrong. At that point, they had a dog together. But as far as I'm concerned, the turning point happened a little bit later. Tess was living with me at the time when she told me she was going to move out and move in with Jake. I realized that she'd made her choice. And Tess may be indecisive about the little things, like the particulars of an outfit or, a first dance song. But, but when it came to the big things, I'd never seen her change her mind. She was passionate about soccer, lacrosse, and dance, and I watched her let go of each of those at just the right moment and never looked back. She chose her career path in high school, and lo and behold, that's just what she's doing today. So when Tess made her choice, I knew it was time for me to get to know her boyfriend better. Let me tell you what I learned about my brother-in-law. He is incredibly patient, kind, and caring. Like Tess, he has a propensity for showing up for his people. He's fun-loving and active enough to nurture Tess's wild side, while steady enough to keep her grounded. Above all else, Jake, I learned that you're the person who I can trust to protect my sister's heart. And what more could I ever want from a brother-in-law? Tess, thank you for being the best sister in the world. Ooh, I almost made it. Thank you for being the best sister in the world. My favorite part of so many memories. We may not end our nights under the covers in our little world anymore, but I feel the same way now as I did back then. Your happiness will forever be connected to mine. And by the way, I understand that it wasn't luck. So many things have worked out for you too. You've crafted your own unique love story, creating a life you're excited about, and an incredibly solid foundation for a future that I know will be filled with love, spontaneity, and yes, the occasional impulsive decision that will take you places you never imagined. So with that, everyone please